Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Passive Income Doctor. And today I'm flying solo. We'll be doing a bit of like a life update and also a property portfolio update as of mid 2026. Currently in Europe on holiday, so pre-recorded this episode. It's been a kind of hectic first half of the year, under offer on 4 properties, bringing a total of 16 properties. And if you're a property investor, you would know about the challenges in terms of growing a portfolio, finance approvals, loan documents, organizing, conveyancing, building and pest, insurances, and then all the way to kind of interviewing and choosing a property manager. And if you're a new property investor, I'm not saying this meaning to boast about multiple purchases per year, but to kind of show what's possible. It kind of took me 5 years to get from 0 to 3 properties. And if starting out would be able to do in half the time. And there's many investors out there that are able to get to, 3 properties even within 1 year, that sort of thing. I guess one mistake I did early on was kind of buying blue chip and very expensive properties, which costs a lot to hold and also reduces borrowing power as well. But I think you always, take the learnings and be able to move forward. And also, I guess with 2026, there's a backdrop of negative sentiment in terms of rising interest rates, rising fuel prices, war, Middle East, building costs are going up, and also uncertainty with tax policy in terms of capital gains tax discount changes and negative gearing changes. So, what I guess is the takeaway is there's always some reasons not to invest, but also at the same time, if your finances allow and you have a strategy in place and this is a goal for you, you shouldn't let these external factors stop you from investing. It's been very inspiring to hear some of the doctors in my Facebook community, Doctors Property Network, buy, for example, their first investment property. I've spoken to many, many doctors over the last few years, and it's kind of split into 2 groups. One group kind of wants to do it, talks about doing it, but it's not a priority. In terms of other things get in the way, they're kind of analysis paralysis, what about this suburb? What about that suburb? Oh, but what about interest rates? You know, and the other group, there is still sometimes a bit of fear. I know for myself, buying my first investment property, it was quite nerve-wracking. But then, after doing your due diligence, you have to pull the trigger in terms of buying that first investment property. And you can break it up into small steps. It might be getting finance, then, reviewing suburbs, and then negotiating with agents, then signing, then conveyancing. You can break a big goal up into smaller parts. So it is definitely been very inspiring to hear some of the doctors kind of taking action. Um, Darwin, just over a year ago, a few people I spoke to have taken action there and seen 25 to 30% plus growth in a very strong rental demand market, strong rental yields too. So I guess this is not an episode about talking about Darwin as such, but more so to show kind of timing a market is very important. And with hesitating, there is huge opportunity costs. One of my best buys was 475,000, now about 670, 680,000, kind of $200,000 in just over a year. So, you can do all the research you'd like, but you are the person that has to take action in terms of signing the loan document, contract of sale. And yeah, if you're a doctor interested in the Facebook community, reach out. You just have to enter your APRA number, as it's for doctors and dentists. And also as well, I've got other free resources such as this podcast, YouTube channel as well. So currently, first time in Europe trip. I know when booking the trip, this was before the Middle East situation, and it was a bit worrying. And briefly thought about canceling, but at the same time, this trip has been on my bucket list for a while, and been working quite hard and wanted to take some time off. And I know a lot of you doctors out there as well, you know, medical school is not easy. Then junior doctor years is not easy, overtime. And then also as well, trying to get onto a training program. And often training program is quite long, sometimes kind of 5 plus years. Um, I guess there's always things that can get in the way of you investing, or there's also things that might stop you from wanting to take a holiday. It could be, "Oh, I'm going to wait until get onto a training program, but then the training program's very long, and even after the training program, there's fellowships, um, 1 to 2 years, and then building up a patient base. So it's kind of very easy, I guess, talking to some doctors, easy for them to put life goals, financial goals to the side, and just be career focus. I guess career focus is important, but I think also you need to take into account, yeah, your financial health, your mental health, your physical health. Also, as well, in terms of talking about life, holiday, medicine, is kind of want to enjoy the journey as well. Medicine is a long journey, property investing is a long journey, but having holidays here and there and spending time with family, I think that's important, and also kind of a reminder, 'cause this is part of why a lot of people invest in the first place, to kind of have a better future for themselves and also their kids as well. So today was a bit of a short and sweet episode. Share this if this resonates to you. Reach out to me if you've got any questions about property investing as a doctor, through the email below, or even Instagram, Passive Income Doctors. And I'll see you on the next episode.